Hi, in this midnight sermon I'm going to be talking about death and what to do with the body. Now Lionel, it's not his real name, I'm not going to lie, he lived his life to mixed reviews. It's not my job to value judge. It's just my job really to see them off these shores and stand with those left behind. And that is the work. Because when someone dies, they always leave a mess behind. Always. The type of mess varies: grief, loss, emptiness, and these can mellow into warmth as you remember with love. But sometimes secrets fall out, don't they? Old wounds are reopened. Anger, regret, guilt, relief, and paperwork. Always paperwork. It's always a mess when someone dies. Now, there is controversy over how we do funerals. Having a view can stir people up who have a different view to yourself. Now, I have a view on direct cremations, where the body is whisked away suddenly by some random point, by some random people to be cremated at some random time. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying it's wrong, and I'm certainly not saying people shouldn't do it. But I would encourage people to think very carefully and also to talk to their loved ones about it, to explain why, and also to help them, to give the people that you leave behind permission to do what they're going to need to do when it happens. I'll tell you what I would do if I were to have a direct cremation. Then I'll tell you why I'm not going to have one. But, as Jesus himself said, you do you. I would tell my immediate family that that's the plan, explain to them what the process is. To be honest, I'd probably tell anyone who listened, who was interested in it. But the family is the main one to tell, whether that's your blood family or your friend family. I'd explain why I chose it. Maybe it's the price. Maybe it's not wanting a fuss. But the main reason I would want a direct cremation is because that's what I am, and it would suit me. I'd then explain, I think, that they can mark my life however they want. They can have a ceremony, a meal, a party, go for a walk. I don't really mind, as long as they mark it the way they want to mark it. And I'd probably put some money aside so they can pay for something like that. Money behind the bar or a brown buffet, whatever they want to do. I'd say there's some money in that account when I'm gone. There you go. But I would also say to them, if they want to do something when I've gone, do it within a month of me dying, so it's done and the goodbye is done. I'd give them permission to do something and either tell them my favourite things, suggest ideas, or I'd tell them, I'm not saying anything, I want you to do what you want. And I would say, don't plan it until I'm gone. That also works fine. But I wouldn't have a direct cremation. And here's why. Mostly because it just isn't me. That's not what I'm like. I'd like a ceremony to say goodbye. I think that it's helpful and I think that it's important. I think people need something like this to help them process what has happened. Not everyone, But people who don't need that kind of stuff tend not to go to funerals anyway because they don't see the point. But personally, I like the physicality of the coffin being there. There I am. I'm gone. And it's real. It's done. There's no going back. Get used to it. I like at funerals that people get together. I like the tenderness. I like the awkwardness. The cluster of life and lives that all gather in that one spot, around this dead spot. It reminds us that life does continue, even when death is just an arm's reach away in that box. I also like funeral directors. It seems a strange thing to say, but I like funeral directors. Not all of them. There are some bad ones out there. Not that obviously I've met any. All the ones I've met are very good. I have met compassionate, caring people in small and big firms. I have a preference for the little independents, but that's because I'm a fan of the small and the independent, be it beer, barbers or, restaurants. I like them. I also think that often, not always, but often you get a better service from an independent and you know that it's probably the same person that meets you at the start that sees it through to the end. And there's not some big processing plant that the body's been taken to. But each to their own. I can't tell you how to market. As I say, there are some excellent branches of the large funeral companies, just as there's excellent branches of smaller ones. The direct cremation companies are slightly different. They are a different animal. They won't have a history in the community, for instance. They were specifically set up, to be blunt, to process bodies. There is, as far as I know, no before, during or aftercare. Their concern is the body. Get it, burn it. Next. Apologies if I'm incorrect or being harsh. You could say to me, of course, Neil, you're a priest. You would say this. The direct cremation is a threat to the funeral celebrant business. Well, I suppose, although often I will end up doing the funeral anyway. It's just a bit messier to plan because the first thing we usually deal with is what do we do? Because there is no plan. Because the person's gone. Off for processing. So, where do we go with this? My advice for when you die? Because you're gonna. Firstly, and this is advice I've heard from other funeral directors. First, declutter your home. It's painful taking your loved one's stuff to the charity shop or putting it in the skip. Although, it can be cathartic. Secondly, get the paperwork sorted, or at least get all the paperwork into one folder. Thirdly, talk to your spiritual or scientific advisor, or preferably both. You get another view then from these people on your choices. You might be surprised that people will want to do something when you're gone. You may be surprised that people will miss you. That line, "I'll just put me in a bin liner and throw me in the tip," hilarious as it is, I've kind of gone off it. I've stopped saying it. When my parents died, that was the kind of line that they would have had. But that was the last thing I wanted when they died. The body was the last bit of them that was left, and I wanted it treated with care and respect. I wanted to be able to say goodbye to that shell that I'd known for so long. Because once that physical bit of them has gone, they become just memories. If only I could hold them again. When you die, don't make it difficult for people who love you to mourn you. Let them mourn you. I love this poem. It's by someone called Manon James, and it's called A Priest at a Funeral. I need all the rage I can muster to keep this calm, to sculpt space, to hold shifting, fragile colours. I marvel at how midwives day by day caress women into their own artistry, weaving love like expectant shawls. I'm the last to stroke the wood that bears this ending, gathering in the fragments of courage, to let it fall through my fingers, chanting hope, forgiveness, dust. Everyone is different. Our stories are different, and how we respond is different. So make sure you do it the way you want to. Whether you're the one who is dead or the one who is left behind. And when you die, the fewer surprises, the better. People are struggling to cope anyway, because, to mix my metaphors, death sticks a great big spanner into your emotions and stirs them all up, and they bleed out all over the place. So when I die, what you feel about me is going to come out all over the place and at random. It helps just to have something written in that folder, however short, however random. But whatever you do, however it works out, know this: you are held in God's hands. You journey on deeper into the heart of God. Because death is not putting out the light, it's extinguishing the candle, because the dawn has come. Good night.